İngilizce. Are we starting? Yes, okay. Hello everyone. It's the second from the last panel today. So we'll be as quick as possible to leave time to the last panel. My name is Ussal Shahbaz. I'm running a government affairs company in Turkey that's focusing on technology, including climate tech. And we have three distinguished panelists today. I'll also talk myself. I'm the moderator, but I'll also talk at the end very briefly. So we have Ms. Canan Özsoy, who is now a fellow at Özyeğin University, a board member at Garanti Bank and Tekfen, and she's also my former boss at GE Turkey. So she knows all these energy issues and technology issues from the first hand. And she's also finishing her PhD studies on climate transition. Next, not in this order, but in the speaking order, we have Zafer, who is the chair of the AI Policies Association in Turkey, a very distinguished fellow and friend of mine. He will talk about what's happening in the AI space in Turkey and how it relates to climate transition. And lastly, we have Erdem Erkul, who is the chairman of Cerebrum Tech and the chair of the Technology Council of Turkey's Foreign Economic Relations Board, TEİK. He's both an entrepreneur as well as a very important thought leader in these issues in Turkey. So we'll also get his perspectives at the very end. So I would like to start with Canan Hanım. Canan Hanım, maybe you can, just to kickstart the conversation, give us an overview of how you understand the institutional structure that surrounds climate tech and climate transition. And from there, we will connect to AI.
Perfect. Thank you, Ussal, for the wonderful introduction. And dear guests, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Also, a big hello to the people who are watching and listening to us online. I will do a brief setting the scene, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about challenges and hopefully bringing it up to the level that my esteemed colleagues here, panelists, are going to solve those issues using AI and other advanced technologies. So the climate crisis is a complex, multifaceted problem that refers to the ongoing rapid changes in Earth's climate system, primarily caused by human activities such as the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes. It involves not only the rise in global temperatures, but also disruptions in weather patterns, sea level rise, biodiversity loss, and threats to food and water security. The crisis is complex because it intersects with numerous social, economic, political, and environmental issues, creating a web of challenges that require coordinated global responses. And hence, we are all here for COP29, 29th year. It's still a complex problem, so not much is solved. Solutions are complicated by differing national interests, economic dependencies, and the urgency to address both immediate impacts and the long-term sustainability. It is a problem that spans across various scales, from local communities to global governance, and demands interdisciplinary approaches involving science, policy, technology, and societal change. While the Paris Agreement adopted in 2015 represents a critical international framework for addressing climate change progress in containing global warming, it has been much slower than needed to meet its goals. Global emissions trends remain on the rise as the economic growth in emerging markets lead to increased fossil fuel use, even if all the promises are fulfilled, the temperature expected to rise by the year 2100 is 2.7 degrees, way above the 1.5 that we have been targeting. National commitments versus reality, there is a gap between commitments and the policies or actions that are actually being implemented. Paris Agreement calls for financial support to help developing countries transition. Some progress there, but again, short of promise, while 85% of clean investments go to and from developed countries, only 15% are in emerging countries. In short, while Paris Agreement helped raise global awareness and initiated steps toward addressing climate change, the current pace of progress is not yet sufficient. We need to pledge more and we need to execute more. Developing creative solutions and strategies to decrease atmospheric greenhouse gas emissions requires a holistic and transdisciplinary energy transition framework, which is what I am working on, and should involve every person, company, entity, and all governments. This can only be achieved with efforts on both local and global levels, which need to convince A, industries to change their traditional operation modalities, B, people to alter their consumption behaviors, C, governments to change their rules, regulations, and incentives. I'm not even mentioning the need to transform existing global energy infrastructure in generation and transmission networks. Besides complexity and enormous scale, the other issue is access to financing and capable human resources to work on actually this transformation. Let's start with financing as the major bottleneck. While there is considerable momentum toward financing the green transformation, several interconnected challenges ranging from risk perception and financing structures to policy inconsistency and infrastructure gaps must be addressed. To name a few of these financing bottlenecks quickly, the first one is capital intensity and upfront costs. It takes a lot of money to set up green energy plants. And also, if you want to demolish existing fossil fuel ones, it's another big financial burden, including finding jobs for the people who will be displaced. The second is risk perception and market uncertainty, especially in developing and emerging markets. The risks pertain to inconsistency of these projects and the policy support leads to financial institutions to be shy about it. The third one is financing mechanisms and market gaps. Green bonds, as you know, are in our lives, but they are still underdeveloped, and because the carbon pricing mechanism is globally not stable and well-defined and well-regulated, these bonds are not where they should be to support this transition. So regulatory and policy challenges, limit access to financing, and creditworthiness of developing nations is another challenge. Greenwashing and lack of transparency also adds to why we don't have enough financial support. This can be solved by innovative financial models, global carbon markets and policy alignment, transparency, and standards. Lastly, I want to touch upon accessing human resources with the skills and capacity to handle the carbon footprint calculations and other green transformation skills. Carbon accounting, emission reporting, environmental management systems, life cycle analysis, data analytics, and so on and so on. So this skills gap in sustainability and carbon accounting is very valid. Difficulty in attracting and retaining talent in this developing narrow sector is challenging. Budgets are limited. Human resources of big corporations don't really know what this is about, and there is a resistance. So, overall, the world is behind its plans. One of the challenges is the complexity and enormousness of this task. The other is there isn't enough money dedicated. And the third is there isn't enough people to work on this particular topic with the necessary skills and training. So can this be solved, and can AI solve part of it? Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Canan Hanım. So we don't have skills, we don't have money, we don't have the institutions, but we have AI. And Zafer is the founder of AI Policies Association in Turkey, which is not the first, NGO on this in Turkey, but probably one of the few in the world, right? So based on what Canan Hanım has said about the general overview of the climate transition challenges, tell us a bit about what's happening in AI, especially in Turkey, and with regards to the climate transition.
Thank you, Usal. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are all welcome. First of all, as AIPA, we are very happy to be in Bakü. Thank you so much, our ministry and United Nations, for hosting us. And thank you all for coming here today. Turkey is also a candidate for COP31. We escape everyone's support. In recent days, everyone is talking about AI and climate change. Today, I am going to talk about developments in AI and climate change. The world is changing so rapidly. AI and climate change are transforming the world. So, are we ready for this transformation? I think we are not. But we must be ready before it is too late. Nowadays, it is hard to have a strong economy without AI. In Turkey, AI and climate change ecosystem are improving day by day. There are 208 universities and 104 technoparks in Turkey. There are more than 10,000 startups. AI and climate change are on the agenda of our universities, technoparks, and startups. Turkey's high technology export reached $9.1 million. There are important developments in the fields of AI and climate change in Turkey. You know, climate change has been added to the name of our ministry. Climate change presidency was established under our ministry. In Turkey's climate strategy, we have a zero emission target for 2053. Turkey will achieve this. The rate of those who believe in climate change in Turkey is 85%. I think it is very percentage. The Turkish Parliament AI Commission was established. The Security Council now includes AI in its decisions. The General Directorate of Science and Technology Policies of the Ministry Foreign Affairs was established. The Ministry of Health established the Department of AI. A cybersecurity presidency will be established within the presidency before end of the year. In Turkey, there are 27 million Generation Z. This is more than the individual population of 143 countries. Young people in our country are very interested in AI and climate change. If we can turn this interest into knowledge, Turkey will have a very important position, AI and climate change. AI diplomacy and ecological diplomacy are now on the main agenda of countries. AI and climate change are indispensable for Turkey and all countries because we know that firstly, AI is going to affect all sectors, agriculture, energy, media, education, especially climate change. Secondly, AI will make 85 million people unemployed. However, AI will also create 97 million new jobs. Climate technology expert is among the most important jobs of the future. Thirdly, AI will create $16 trillion for the economy by 2030. So, the driving force of the economic development will be AI. Unchecked climate change could result in a global economic loss of up to 18% of GDP by 2050. Countries are using AI-based economic forecasting models. The global market for green infrastructure is projected to reach $1.5 trillion by 2030. By 2025, an estimate 1.8 billion people will live in areas plagued by water scarcity. AI-driven water management systems, such as predictive analytics for drought patterns, are being implemented in some countries. Climate change could reduce global agricultural productivity by up to 30% by 2050. Countries are deploying AI to create more precise climate models and early warning systems. Drone technology supports reforestation and biodiversity efforts. So, what should we do? Awareness first, awareness indispensable. We need to develop projects that will further raise awareness on AI and climate change. Then education. Education is indispensable. We need to give good training to our youth, especially on AI and climate change. There is the world's first and only AI university in Abu Dhabi. Why not establish universities of climate change in countries? We must produce and implement permanent, stable policies on AI and climate change. Climate change is a global problem, and country can solve it alone. We need to work together on AI and climate change. For this reason, AI and climate change are not the future. AI and climate change are today. Thank you so much for listening.
Zafer, thank you very much. Now, I'll turn to Erdem, who is also a practitioner of AI. And Erdem has many hats, as I told you before. One of them I forgot. He's also an honorary consul of Republic of Korea in Turkey. And Erdem and I know each other from his days in Samsung. So he knows that part of the world very well. And then he was at Microsoft. So I'll throw him two questions. One is, we talked about AI and solving the climate problem, but due to the data center and energy consumption, I think AI is also creating a climate problem, right? So maybe you can touch into this. The second question is how really, with your company, you are helping resolving the, climate tech issues. And the third one is, given your experience in Turkey, Korea, and others, how do you see the AI diplomacy? And, how do you see these mid-sized emerging powers with overlapping interests to work together? So maybe you can, whatever question you want, you can respond. I throw you three. Yeah. You choose.
Thank you, Sal, and first of all, welcome. And thanks, Government of Azerbaijan and United Nations and our ministry for hosting us. And actually, today and during this month, in the COP29, many peoples and many experts, they are talking about Ustad's questions, actually. And maybe I can mention that some use cases from my company, from my experience. Also, I will start from your last questions, Usal. Yes, collaboration among and mid-sized emerging powers, countries and the companies, etc., and on climate change and AI, both feasible and highly beneficial. I believe that. But I noted first pillars are very important, I am thinking, for mid-sized emerging powers. One of them, shared interest, including, for example, climate change impacts, because many people, they are talking about the climate change, many institutes, many universities, but we need to see their impact and the results important. And another one, AI for sustainability. And actually, AI offers solutions for managing resource and optimizing energy consumption and predicting environmental change, and which are the critical for sustainable development. And the second one, cost sharing and resource optimizations, actually very important. And the third one, diplomatic and regional benefits. This is your second questions. For example, mid-sized countries often act as bridges between global powers and smaller nations. And by collaborating on AI and the climate initiatives, they can enhance their global influence and to set an example offers, for example, G20 and OECD and the United Nations, etc. Because every countries, they are going to like United Nations Summit, and they can share their use cases, they can share their comments, etc. This is third one, and the last one, successful use cases, because we will learn, my opinion, after the see some things, some results. Maybe I can mention that what are we doing. For example, we have 3 projects, and we developed and we finished and we closed the deal. And also we are nowadays getting collection data, and we will share next year our results, for example, our projects. For example, one of them, and with my companies and the VPLAT, the Korean partners, we designed the MI Sonic hardware, and we are going to cities, and with this hardware we are listening to pipeline, and then we are trying to detect the water leak. And in Seoul, VPLAT companies, 10% efficiency, we saw the results. All Seoul cities, we work to Seoul municipalities as the VPLAT companies. And then we visited the Turkish municipalities, many municipalities. Only we made this project in Ankara and the Sivas. And nowadays still our teams, they are listening to pipelines, and we are detecting the water leak, and then we are sending the data and collecting data, and our AI platform responding, and we are sharing the results alive with the municipalities, and they are going to pipeline, and then they are finding the water leak. Another projects with again our Korean partners, we created the AI assistant only for climate change. For example, nowadays we are using many GPT services, but after 70%, we are seeing hallucinations. But we thought that 2 years ago, and we can create the AI platform, but we are creating and we are sharing with our customers and institutions. They are creating their AI assistant. Then for climate change, we created the climate change assistant. You can use also climatechange.sereinsight.com. It's free. And you can use and you can talk these assistants all COP29, all COP28, 26, 27, all United Nations open source, and platform knows everything, no hallucinations. Only you are talking with our AI assistant about climate change, no other issues. And then actually your last question, first question actually in the data center and the energy efficiency, it's very critical because last 4 years everyone's are talking about AI. All industries, they are trying to close and the finalization their transformation, digital transformation, and they want to use AI products, etc. Some companies also, they are producing the AI products, and we need to many new spaces because we need to use data center, etc. But data centers are using energy. For example, last month, and the top 50 companies from the technology sector, for example, Microsoft, I saw that they are trying to buy nuclear plant. Why? Because they want to use nuclear plant energy, their data centers. The other also biggest cloud companies, they are trying to buy nuclear plant. They will establish their own nuclear plant, maybe. We will see that. And because of this, and yes, energy is very important, especially including use the data centers. And but I cannot say nowadays some results. We need to see after they get collect the data, after the AI and the cloud computing systems, and maybe after next 2 years, we will see some results. We will see some science articles, etc. Then I can say something about this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me add a few things, and I'll ask one more thing to Canan maybe, and then we'll wrap up. I think, based on this conversation, let's turn back to Turkey and focus back on the opportunity. The World Bank, every year they publish something called the World Development Report. It's like the flagship report of the bank, and every year they focus on a theme. This year's theme was coming out of the middle income trap. And one of the ways that they have proposed as a way out of coming out of the middle income trap for countries like Turkey is focusing on the climate technologies, because that's where the creative destruction will happen in the next few decades. And there was a very interesting analysis which really impressed me. From a skills point of view, or a capabilities point of view, they map all the climate technologies, and then based on the current endowments of each country, what they produce at the moment, which countries has the largest potential in climate technologies. They do this mapping, and obviously everywhere China is the first, but to my surprise, Turkey was the second. Because I think Turkey has a very strong manufacturing base. Although it is mid-tech manufacturing, it can immediately be converted into these, climate tech technologies. And actually, I would like to remind to Canan Hanım one instance that we had when we were in GE. There was this company in İzmir, Ateş Çelik. They were producing metal signage for shops, very simple things. And they became a GE supplier, and then they started to produce steel towers for the wind turbines, from the signage to towers. So this transformation can happen, but it requires a very high level of collaboration between the OEMs, large companies, SMEs, and the government. So that's, I think, where the opportunity lies for all these technologies, including the AI. Canan, maybe you can build on this and say a few more things.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to mention two things that are critical where AI can significantly contribute, and especially in Turkey. The first one is, before we attack the problem of green transition, the best thing we can do is to make the problem smaller, thus energy efficiency. From buildings to industrial plants to vehicles, energy efficiency. Use what we have more efficiently. If we do this across the board, the response we're going to get is huge, and AI will make it easier, accessible, more readily calculatable, the return on investment more obvious for companies and especially SMEs. The second area is waste management. We are all focused on energy transition, power plants, SMRs, wind turbines, but every day 8.5 billion people are producing waste. And this waste has a significant impact on greenhouse gas. What the World Bank again has predicted is it will account for 2.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent by the year 2050, adding on to our current burden, and using artificial intelligence to better manage this, because there is a lot of technologies and better sorting, better removal, better mining of the waste is possible through AI technologies, and there are some very interesting examples. This morning I talked about them from Sweden, from Netherlands, from Colombia, very successful examples of managing waste better. And I would like to also add on what Ussal said. I do believe sincerely that Turkey is well positioned in the second place. We cannot be first because of the scale, 100 million versus a billion and a half. But really, Turkey has understood this. Look at what we have been able to achieve in 15 years in green transformation. It's impressive.
Yes.
Without any global support, without any privileged access to global financing. This is what we have done with our people and with our government's support. Now, if we can take that to the next step and continue localization, local manufacturing, supported by software development, AI tools development, I think we can definitely make a change, not only in the future of Turkey, but also on the region that it neighbors.
Thank you. Thank you, Canan Hanım. I was warned that the next panel has to start earlier than planned because of logistical reasons. So the best panels are short panels. I would like to thank you all and all of our audience for listening us. Thank you very much.
But I do want the panel photo.
Yes. Bir fotoğraf.